just want you to ask as many questions as possible.
Teaching and research are kind of the two halves of my job.
DreamWakers is a nonprofit organization that utilizes free video chat services to bring diverse and dynamic speakers into high-need public school classrooms across the U.S.
We spend a lot of time matching speakers with the proper classrooms, making sure that it's very relevant to what the students are learning about. We can match a speaker from the hometown, racial, ethnic background, any sort of thing that we can have a connection with the students makes the flash test so much more powerful.
Can everybody please send Mr. Smithshine for speaking to us today?
That's the coolest thing. She said he shines right back.
It's so important for these kids to see and understand success that looks like that. If he made it, I can make it. And once that possibility is opened up, you can fly.
The speaker will give a brief overview of what they're doing, why they're really inspired, challenges that they overcame, and then the remaining time is used for the kids to ask questions.
Coming from a girl who lives in Harlem, how do you think your background affects your success now?
People have really powerful stories to tell, and you have no idea what it means to any one person.
It makes me feel like I'm capable. It makes me feel like inspired.
We tell our kids constantly that they can do and be anything that they want to be with hard work, and to actually see that embodied in somebody who looks like them, is from their neighborhood, is just incredibly powerful.
The name DreamWakers is based on an Aristotle quote, which is that hope is a waking dream. It succinctly encapsulates what we want to do, which is inspire a generation of students to believe in themselves and to ignite this future vision in them.
Hello everyone, my name is Isha Sesay. I'm an anchor correspondent with CNN. I'm also the founder of a nonprofit organization called We Can Lead. It is such a pleasure to be here with you on this day and to introduce you to some fierce women doing some phenomenal things. I would like to start by introducing the two women behind the wonderful organization DreamWakers, who are helping children dream big right around the country. In the middle is Monica Gray and her co-founder, Medaglia. And I also want to welcome the woman close to me, Ganiat Rufai. She is the principal of the Dr. E. Alma Flagg School in Newark, New Jersey. There's some kids in the house. I think we can all hear them. Welcome to you all. Thank you. Now, let me start with you. Monica, let me ask you about the idea for DreamWakers. It is such a simple and fantastic idea of connecting children with incredible role models. Where did the idea come from?
Sure. So Annie and I were just grabbing pizza one night back in 2013, and we were just saying how we were feeling frustrated with the lack of volunteer opportunities, particularly opportunities to volunteer in school while students were actually in the classroom. And we felt like our hands were kind of tied in terms of our ability to be able to give back given our 9-to-5 jobs. And while we were having this conversation, we looked down and our cell phones were just sitting on the table there. We thought, wait a minute, we could probably use the same technology that we use to FaceTime or Skype or Google Hangout with friends and family across the country to reach classrooms. There must be a program that exists, and we looked into it, and it didn't. It didn't exist in the way that we envisioned it, and so in that moment, the seeds of DreamWakers were really planted.
Which is awesome. And Annie, tell us about the companies and the professions that are being represented. I understand you guys have a waiting list.
Yeah, so exposure for us is really huge. There are a lot of stats out there about how businesses don't feel like there's enough involvement between private sector and education, and 65% of the careers that are going to exist tomorrow when these students go into them don't even exist now. And so we wanted to bring in lots of different companies into the classroom so that students could see themselves in these people. So some of the organizations are the White House, State Department, Microsoft, Google, Orvis, JetBlue, there's so many of them. And our speakers come from all different types of backgrounds. So we have a really high percentage number of individuals coming from these companies that are first-generation college students or first or second-generation immigrants. Or we have a great number of folks from all areas of the US, urban, rural backgrounds, all different types of races and socioeconomic backgrounds. So we really try to exhibit all types of people in these careers.
It's great work you're doing. And to Ganiat now, who's also inspiring kids every single day, I understand DreamWakers came to your school and they hosted a chat with your civic students and a top Obama aide, David Seamus. Tell us about that.
So we've hosted DreamWakers 3 times, it's safe to say at this point. I lead a K-8 in Newark, New Jersey with approximately 550 students. The 7th graders are actually here today, along with their teacher.
I think they're over there.
Along with their teacher, Mr. Ojekere, who is very creatively bridging the gap that exists, obviously. And 50% of my students comprise of, or are coming from, rather, African-American backgrounds, and the other 50% are from Hispanic heritage backgrounds. Having said that, in an urban area, they don't always have the opportunity to interface with role models that look like them on a consistent basis. With that being stated, Mr. Seamus, who identifies very closely with them, he himself having come from a Hispanic heritage background, was able to relate to the students. They wrote him letters. They're actually awaiting their trip to the White House to visit.
So they're going to meet him.
They are. They're scheduled to meet him.
That's very
And it ignites a sense of possibility for our students. It reminds them that they're able to accomplish their goals just as their mentors, their virtual mentors has, and it keeps the conversation going about why it's important to give back to your community.
Yeah, it's great. Monica, Annie, I know that you had conversations with students after you do these flash chats, reflection moments, if you will. Tell me some of the things you've learned and the impact you're having.
Oh gosh, so yeah, we host these flash chat reflection times afterwards, and we hear so many inspirational stories. One that comes to mind is a woman who runs a business of language podcast, and she connected with a classroom in rural Virginia, and after that chat, the student came up and said, or one of the students came up and said, you know, she really wanted to pursue a study abroad program in high school, and nobody had even known that it existed in that high school previously. We have lots of follow-up activities where speakers, it's kind of become a trend now where speakers follow up in different ways, whether inviting the students on a field trip, just offering their email, offering to be a resource, and so those are really special.
And a lot of the common themes are from the students, like we didn't know that this type of job existed. We didn't know that somebody who looks like me or comes from my type of town can be in this type of position. We didn't know that our teachers cared as much about us, that they would do this. We didn't know that you could have multiple different careers, and so we get a lot of feedback from teachers afterwards, even like 3 months later, saying, hey, this like is still impacting the students.
And I would,
go ahead.
Sorry, I would just add, like for additional context, the reason that we feel it's really important to bring to life these lessons is there's some kind of bleak facts out there about the state of current public education. You know, 7,000 students are dropping out of high school every single year in the US. That comes out to a student every 26 seconds. And suspension rates have more than doubled over the past 4 decades. And so we feel that it's really important to start reaching students at an earlier age to expose them to careers and inspirational role models and leaders who look like them, to kind of give them hope and future vision. And so that's why we're working hard to connect like coders in Silicon Valley with 4th graders in Newark, or you know, civics classes with White House political directors.
And the reality is we are currently in an era of high-stakes testing in America, and it's our reality. However, we're not always taking into consideration the importance of educating the entire child, and that's what DreamWakers does. It makes sure that we're catering to their social, emotional needs.
Yeah. And just to follow up on that, I mean, for those who might be sitting out there and saying, well, you know, it's just you know, it's a moment where they speak to someone and it has no real lasting impact. You're saying that's not the case. These meetings can have a profound down-the-line impact on these kids.
Absolutely. If we all reflect on our experiences growing up, we could all remember a mentor that said something to us that ignited a passion in us that was suppressed prior to, right? So the reality is, though it's a quick, convenient way to interface with students, it does leave a lasting impression on them. My students have written letters. They've came to me personally and talked about how this has changed their goals for the future. Our motto at FLAG is that our students are respectful, responsible, and ready, and I appreciate the opportunity that DreamWakers has brought to ensuring that our students are actually ready.
It's fantastic. Monica, you do this full-time. You are full-time CEO of DreamWakers. First of all, tell me your goals for the organization going forward, share them with the audience here, and where you want this organization to be 3 years from now.
Sure. So we launched in 2014, and today we're in over 50 communities, reach thousands of students. Our goals looking forward are to be in all 50 states, and we want to be a resource for particularly low-income schools that are 75 to 100% free and reduced lunch to have a platform where any teacher can just hop online and book an exceptional speaker to shed light on the real-world applicability of what their class is learning. We also are beginning a new program in the fall where we'll be bringing on corporate partners. So if there's anybody in the audience who's interested in sponsoring a week of flash chats, our hope is to kind of show the breadth and depth of careers that are out there for any number of professions. And then finally, a lot of people in the audience probably won't be too surprised to know we actually receive way more applications from men than women to be speakers. So all you women out there, please sign up to be a speaker. We would love to have you, dreamwakers.org, if you're interested.
Awesome. And that brings us to the end, but let me say congratulations for all the great work you're doing, and Ganiat as well for inspiring kids every day. Monica, Annie, and Ganiat, thank you for joining us and sharing the terrific work.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to bring out another mother of invention, 2016 mother of invention, Maria Della Pina, as well as the senior engineer with Toyota, Jacqueline Birdsall, to help us celebrate all these amazing women.